मंगलम भगवान वीरो मंगलम गौतम प्रभु।
ॐ नमो अरिहन्ताणं नमो सिद्धाणं नमो आयर्याणं नमो वचायाणं नमो
Jai Jinendra and welcome to Mangalam. As promised, we have brought to you the second part of our series of Global Peace Through Nonviolence by Anubhai Vora. As you know, he is a well-known Jain scholar and the past president of Jaina. So here is the lecture for Global Peace Through Nonviolence.
Good morning and Jai Jinendra. In the last session, we talked about how non-violence can solve the problems of the modern age. But please do not forget that although non-violence is the best way of solving the problem, violence is the real main culprit to start with. So how do we reduce or eliminate violence in the first place? Well, Jainism does have a well-defined process to achieve this. It calls for changing the individual to start with. The rationale is that if you transform an individual at the gut level, then violence at the societal and national level would fade away. In a way, this is similar to the famous quote of Mahatma Gandhi, who once said, "Be the change you want to see in the world." So where do we start? Well, Jainism has two approaches, mental and physical, meaning it deals with the mind first and the body next. The mental approach entails control over destructive emotions, the emotions of anger, arrogance, deception and greed, and other related passions. The physical approach, on the other hand, calls for abstaining from violence, speaking lies, stealing, sexual lust, and mad craze after getting more material wealth. Obviously, there is a strong connection between the immoral behavior and poisonous emotions. For example, a war does not start by itself. It's preceded by either a trace of anger or ego or a combination thereof on the part of one individual or a group, and then, before you know it, it catches a wildfire. Same reasoning applies to other vices. This means the transformation has to take at the mind level first. How? Well, Jainism has spelled out 4 different steps, and that are shown in the next slide. It recommends the use of forgiveness to overcome anger, humility to overcome arrogance, honesty to control deception, and contentment to control greed. Now please be aware that the Jain teachings are aimed at stopping the wars and visible acts of violence in the end, but it first starts with the violence in our hearts and minds. To achieve this, it recommends its followers to start with the regular study of scriptures, yoga, fasting, meditation, and a number of other techniques on a regular basis. The idea is that if we can control the emotions at the heart and mind level, the control of the physical behavior would be easy to achieve. Since violence is directly related to global peace, Jainism has put violence on the top of the list of the major sins and laid strong emphasis on non-violence. It says very clearly that the seeds of violence are deep within each of us, and we need to be constantly vigilant. We need to work in each moment to maximize reverence and minimize violence. Therefore, it must be our beacon light to achieve enduring peace. Besides non-violence, there are a couple of other Jain principles I would like you to be aware of. And they are very important because they are directly related to the practice of non-violence. One is called anekantvad, or open-mindedness and active listening to divergent viewpoints. It says that a true understanding of any situation requires us seeing it from every possible point of view. What does that mean? It means we need to look at every situation through someone else's eyes. We need to put ourselves in someone else's shoes, and we need to realize that no single perspective on an issue contains the whole truth. Substance, time, place, and the conditioned observer all affect the viewpoint. So any event should be considered from different points of view. It further says that the truth is seldom absolute and one-sided. Therefore, Jainism encourages dialogue, active listening, harmony with everyone. And in a way, it is encouraging democratic behavior based upon spirituality. The other important principle of the Jain religion is aparigraha, or non-possessiveness. Total, obviously, at the monk level, and partial at the layman's level, and that would involve minimizing the needs. In addition to promoting the practice of non-violence, this principle also helps the environment and creates a balanced distribution of the limited resources of the globe among all creatures living on the face of the earth. Another side benefit of this idea, the reduction of our needs could be a potent force to reduce the gap between the rich and the poor, and has a direct correlation with the global peace. How do we take these core teachings of Jainism and apply them to promote global peace? How do we influence the political leadership so that they would make more compassionate and peaceful decisions? How do we change their mindset? How do we train our youngsters so that when they grow up and lead the world, they would use more humane and compassionate means to solve the problems of their generation? Well, let's look at a few possibilities in two different ways, short term and long term. On a short term basis, we need to convince the leadership about open-mindedness, active listening, and non-violence to start with. As responsible citizens, we need to make it very difficult for any political leader to start a war. Perhaps we should require the elected leaders to get at least 80% majority on issues related to starting a war. Religious and spiritual leaders all over the world need to exercise pressure on them to explore non-violent and peaceful resolutions to our conflicts. The silent majority of the world must demonstrate that war is not an acceptable solution, and dialogue is the only way, no matter how long it takes to find a solution. So what is the long-term solution? Well, let's take a look at the next slide. On a long-term basis, there is a lot more hope if the interfaith groups became more proactive. Many people have observed that once we learn to ignore the rituals and mythologies, most of the religions of the world show remarkable similarity. They seem to have more in common than what divides them. Perhaps the spiritual leaders need to agree on the core teachings or core human values, if you will, that are common among all religions, and then work with the nations all over to put the programs in place for the benefit of our children. This is obviously a very lengthy process, but the payoff would be astronomical. We need to start building a solid foundation for better tomorrow. Once we train our new generation to control the poisonous emotions and help them with the core teachings of open-mindedness, nonviolence, forgiveness, and compassion at a very young age, we will influence their thinking in a major way. Remember, to affect a social reform, we must start the process at a very young age. That's when the personal transformation takes place, not when a person is in his 60s or 70s, because by that time, die is already cast. This means when kids grow up to become leaders, they will think twice before they make decisions based upon anger, revenge, and hatred or greed. Perceptions and attitude form at a very young age. That's the time to guide the kids in the right direction. That's the time to teach them human values. Most of us Jains know that the Jain teachings can help the world in a big way in getting peaceful solutions to the problems we are facing, but we need to be aware of our own handicap, and that is we lack the visibility and recognition because of our size. It's the quality but not the quantity that counts. So to start with, we need to spread the message of Jainism through our circles of influence. You might say, how is it possible? Well, take the example of Mahatma Gandhiji again. When he first talked about freeing India by using non-violent approach, people must have laughed at his idea. They must have ridiculed him. No one was willing to listen to him. But he stuck to his conviction, kept persuading people about the power of his ideas, and then, before you know it, his circle of influence grew bigger and bigger and bigger. Millions followed him, and he finally succeeded. Jain community has a lot more resources than what Gandhiji started with. We need to be more proactive and keep spreading our great principles for common good. The Persian prophet Zoroaster once said, greed begets hatred, hatred begets violence, and violence begets death. It's a vicious cycle, and we need to get out of it. The destructive emotions are running wild in the world, and that's where we need to focus and replace them with the emotions of love, forgiveness, compassion, and caring for the fellow human beings. And that's the real key to achieving global peace and developing peace-loving and sane leadership. We are indeed at the crossroads. We all need to spread the message of love and peace active listening and tolerance, forgiveness and humility among our families, relatives, friends, and adversaries. We can indeed change the world with the core principles of Jainism, with a heart of non-violence, a reverence for life, and compassion for all. We'll all have to develop a strong willpower and learn to live for the sake of others and do the right thing in a non-violent way. If we follow through these principles and apply them in our daily lives, global peace can indeed be a reality during our lifetime. So let me conclude this session by reciting a peace prayer at first in Sanskrit and then in English. Shiyamastu sarva jagataha parahita nirta bhavanta bhutagana dosha priyanto nasha sarvatra sukhi bhavanta lokaha. May the entire universe attain bliss. May all beings be oriented towards the interest of others. Let all faults be eliminated, and may people be happy everywhere. Thank you very much.
Now we bring to you, as usual, the Global Jain News by our anchor, Rishabh Mehta.
Jai Janandara, and welcome to Global Jain News. I'm Rishabh Mehta. This year's inaugural JYEP program took 12 Jain youths from the ages of 18 to 25 from Canada and the United States to India, starting on December 18th of 2015 and finishing on January 10th, 2016. The Jain Youth Exchange Program, which offers exposure to different cultures, ranks as one of the most powerful ways to promote Indian culture and the Jain way of life. The Jain Youth Exchange Program intends on providing hundreds of young students with the opportunity to meet people from other countries and to experience new cultures, planting the seeds for a lifetime of international understanding. This year's program was a huge success, with the students learning not only a lot about Jainism, but also about Indian heritage. In September of 2015, the Jain Society of Greater Detroit held Teachers' Day, a day to commemorate the selfless work of Pathshala teachers in the area. Teenage Pathshala students taught over 140 younger pupils on subjects including karma theory, Ashtaprakari Puja, and Jain philosophy. Students also had the opportunity to organize the catering and games for the evening event. This event providing Jain teens with the confidence in managing adult responsibilities, as well as giving them a recognition of the efforts of all the volunteers involved. The World Vegan Day was celebrated on November 1st of 2015 in Jain Sanghs worldwide, with events focused on shedding light on the Jain perspective on veganism. Many of the events, including lectures on compassion and veganism, are meant to spread awareness of the less hedonistic lifestyle present in the Jain community. The Himsak organization also held an event in honor of this world holiday, promoting ideas like animal welfare and major lifestyle changes. This is all we have for today's Jain News. We'll be back next week with more news. But until then, Jai Janandara.
Now we present to you a performance by our youngsters from Jain Center of America, New York. So enjoy the show.
Mangalam cha sauvesim padhamam havai mangalam.
My name is Lopa Shah, and I am a teenager of 17 years old. Despite being a teenager, I find myself coming to the temple a multitude of times. Coming to the temple has not only enhanced my devotion towards Bhagwan, but has also enhanced my love towards others. These virtues have helped me in not only studying for tests or memorizing sutras, but also in making new friends. Recently, I went to a place called Tapovan. There, I learned the true powers of Jainism. Tapovan was an experience I could never forget. the atmosphere, the bhakti, the lessons, the games, and of course, the food. From the first time I saw the Derasar there to the last time I did Vandan at Tapovan, there was not a moment I didn't fully enjoy. Tapovan has not only taught me about my religion, but it has also taught me about myself. Jainism has engulfed me since I was a kid. And what it has taught me from the temple to Tapovan, it will continue to do so. Every temple has provoked a feeling of devotion every time I see Bhagwan's Pratima.
અમે જ્ઞાતા ડેરે મન મળી ગયું પ્રભુ હારે ડેરામાં હૈયો હરખાઈને મનડું મલકાઈ ભક્તિ ના રેલામાં ડેરામાં 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 અમે જ્ઞાતા मन मळी गयो प्रभु हरे डेरामा हयो हर खाई ने मनडो मलकाई भक्ति ना रेलामा डेरामा 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 हमें जाता दर्शन करावनार डेरू शांति अपावनार डेरू कर्मो खपावनार डेरू अरे भाव जगाडनार डेरू दर्शन करावनार डेरू शांति अपावनार डेरू कर्मो खपावनार डेरू भाव जगाडनार डेरू हे रुदियाना नाथ मरा आदिश्वर प्राण प्यारा झंकना झंकूचू डेरामा हे रुदियाना नाथ मरा आदिश्वर प्राण प्यारा झंकना झंकूचू डेरामा अयू हर खाई ने मनडू मलकाई भक्ति ना रेलामा डेरामा 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 आमे ज्ञाता मन मळी गयो प्रभु हारे डेरामा हयो हर खाई ने मनडो मलकाई भक्ति ना रेलामा डेरामा 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 हमें ज्ञाता डेरे अलख निरंजन को वीरा क्षत्रिय कुंडवाड़ा दीन दयाला परम कृपाणु को वीरा जग मंगल वाला शांति वाला पंत निराला महावीरा रे जिरे पंत निराला महावीरा रे जिरे पंत निराला महावीरा
શાસન સેવા મળો મને પ્રભુ ભક્તિના મેવા મળો દાન સુપાત્રે દેવા મળો મને જીન ચરણોની સેવા મળો અરિહંત જેવા નાથ મળો ને આરાધનાનો સાથ મળો ભાવના ભળાવવા રોજ મળો ને શંકેશ્વરના नाथ मणो रे जिरे शंकेश्वर नाथ मणो रे जिरे शंकेश्वर नाथ मणो
I hope you enjoyed today's program. We'll come back to you again next week with another exciting program. So don't forget to tune in. Until then, we would like to have your suggestions and your comments sent to us. So please do write to us at mangalamshow@gmail.com. Visit our website mangalamshow.com. Until next time, Jai Jinendra.